experts share stuff that might work for one brand that doesn't work for another brand. But people oftentimes, and not malicious, they're talking about something that works for them, and everybody just assumes that they're not going to have to use critical thinking and they can just copy it.
It drives me absolutely crazy in the seat that I'm in. It's not just them listening to people, but brands copying brands. And it's like, well, so-and-so competitor is doing it, they're much larger than it. It must work. They just want to put it and change it because some other bigger competitor is doing it. And it's not just marketers, it's also brand operators.
People actually had to use their own critical thinking skills before, and today they don't and can still be successful. Now you have all these other tools, and you have agencies now that brands lean on. We're given us so many tools to not think anymore.
New things that are out there that could make a marketer look smarter than they actually are.
For sure.
But there is not the critical thinking that is not occurring often, and they're not trying out a lot of new things.
What would you, do you think you'd be a lead actor? Or like a supporting actor?
He's like Matt Damon, isn't he? The Bosnian Matt Damon.
Wow, that's a compliment.
Like who do you see yourself being in a movie, if you're in a movie?
If I was in a movie, like what type of role? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a lead? Or are you an extra? What are you?
I think I'm a good supporting actor.
Oh, wow. He's humble today.
How about you?
Lead.
Come on, it's Brian.
Come on, Brian.
Obviously.
Brian.
You don't think I'd be a...
Brian thinks so
I mean,
highly of
I
it.
dominate the whole space.
The only thing I can see you lead is being the first person killed off in a movie, but
Yeah, you need to pull that mic closer to you, buddy. There you go. I was just echoing what they said, not me. I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Did I
He
react?
did it.
He rolled his eyes at me.
I
though.
just did it right
He
away.
rolled his eyes at me and gave me the death look like he was going to put me into Oma's Pride
meat grinder.
I thought you were just mad at me because I was killing off Brian right in the beginning of the movie.
Oh,
You couldn't even get in the movie, actually. I'm not even really trying to be mean, but because of the hearing aids. They wouldn't even let you in this. They wouldn't even let you in.
I think they would.
No, it's a thing. It's almost like the military. When they see like, oh, this guy can't hear, we're not going to hire him.
Oh, yeah, that's like against like American Disabilities Act.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we need HR,
Not
Jimmy.
a lawyer.
Is it?
I'm sorry, you're HR. We've already appointed you to be the HR.
We'll talk after.
Oh, you're going to get written up.
You're going to write me up?
Yeah,
Are you going to file a complaint against him?
To who?
To himself.
I'm writing you up. You just gave me the permission. I'm
Yeah,
the
but
HR.
who are you writing me up to?
Yourself.
What are you talking about? To who? I'm writing you up on behalf of the company.
Yeah, but who are you writing me up to?
Like, where does the form go
Yes,
after you
like
write
To
it?
Yourself.
Jimmy.
Oh, I don't want the form.
Caitlin?
No, I don't know. I
Well,
told
if
him
I'm
he's
the HR, then I keep the form.
Yes, there you
Yeah,
go.
so
You
keep the
fill it out
form.
and just keep
Okay,
Yeah.
but we need to have a
You
discussion.
can put
to
it in the
document
meat grinder afterwards.
Yeah.
Ready to talk about some
Why
marketers?
marketers suck.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why the modern marketer sucks, guys. All right,
do
let's
it.
do this in 3,
Because their name is
2,
Brian.
1.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. E-com is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop. Amir from the agency and Jimmy from SAS. John has an Android, but give him a pass. Cause he's an operator building brands like a carpenter. And that's Brian, he is the marketer. Like I said, this the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. E-com is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the ASOM Pod, a show about perspective from the eyes of an agency, SaaS operator, and a marketer focused on the D2C, e-commerce, and retail space. All right, we're getting spicy here today. John Roman, Android-loving survival king. What's up, dude?
Man, being in between these two right now is...
I know. It's
just
some energy there, huh?
Yeah.
There's some energy going. Maybe we should put them next to each other just to let them pinch each other or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Rather
not.
I
not.
like that idea.
I like that idea. With that, we've got Emir Grustinic, the Prince of Bosnia, Mayor of Chicago, meat grinder special extraordinaire. What's going on, brother?
He asked you a question. What's going on?
Not much for Brian.
Oh, man. All right. Brian McDonald, the self-proclaimed funniest dude on LinkedIn. How you feeling about the meat grinder joke?
Listen, I'm
Would you like to file a complaint to HR?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, see?
Yep.
He's a professional.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I'm too. That's why I'm
As
writing
lead
him up.
actors, we can't really let supporting actors ruin our role. Yeah.
And my name is Jimmy Kim, the moderator, the brain, the man of the people, the email dude here. And today, if you're enjoying this pod, yes, Amir?
For the record, since he's the lead actor,
Yes.
if we do not win an Emmy for this podcast, it's his fault.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: we're not winning. We're not winning an Emmy.
Hey, be an optimist, eternal optimist. I'm submitting ourselves for a Netflix show. Remember that? Remember Amer said that Netflix is picking up pods.
Yeah.
We're trying to get enslaved by Netflix and do 1,000 pods. Could you imagine
Lifetime
being
contract?
like liable for like 1,000 podcasts, signing a contract? That would be the worst contract to sign ever.
We'd be able to figure it out.
We'd figure it out. We'd make AI versions of ourselves.
They wouldn't even know.
They wouldn't know. All right. So if you're listening to this pod and you enjoy the spicy takes that we take, we do have a newsletter that you should subscribe to. It's at awesomepod.com. You'll be alerted about the latest pods and our spicy takes. Secondly, if you want to hang out with us in real life, again, this pod, as it comes out, will be like a month or less away, so we don't know if there'll be tickets left. However, commerceroundtable.com, we'll be on stage. We've got a live pod that we're doing together. Plus, we're serving some great food, a great environment, lots of networking. It'll be a blast. And if you missed that one, we have one in San Diego, September 22nd and 23rd. Commerceroundtable.com. Get your tickets today. All right, dudes. We've got an interesting one here because, as you heard the title, and we started a why do modern marketers suck? It's pretty bold statement there.
Very.
So we're throwing some serious shade out here. And, the question I have is, are we out of fresh ideas? Are we just copying each other's work? Let's get this out of the way and how we got here, essentially. And let's talk about D2C, SaaS, and agency marketers all suffering the same like creative drought that's occurring right now, in my humble opinion. Or are they? Now, Brian, I'm going to start with you because you might take offense to this because you, as the marketer in this crew, why do you think we're having this perception that marketers suck nowadays?
Yeah, so I actually don't take offense to it at all because I agree. I think beat this like a dead horse a lot too on social. It's marketers now, the modern marketer, try to deflect to as many other either agencies or people as possible. And there's not a lot of creativity from point A to point Z anymore, where if you look up the definition of a marketer, they're actually responsible for new product development, packaging, everything up. What's so funny?
Mayor's just
Keep going.
thinking about things in his head.
I'm laughing because he's
Do I have
laughing.
something on my face?
All right.
All right.
Can you imagine if a supporting actor talked while Leonardo was literally going off?
I saw this happen. Someone they ripped
You're
him a
fired.
deal.
You're
Yeah,
fired.
They yelled at him.
I don't care where you are in the storyline. Gone. Killed.
What was his name? The guy that was bad. Christian Bale.
Yes.
Did this.
Yes.
Did this. Like famous. Like
Yes.
basically got canceled
Yeah.
for it.
Like,
Went
who's-
off.
who's
It's like
this
you yelling at
supporting-
him and then just
Yeah.
like also making him leave. And
Yeah.
then we're just the
Should we make him
ASOM Pod.
Yeah, if it happens again, yes. Okay. 'Cause that's
Mary,
right.
this is your
Hey.
final warning. The lead
Have him
actor has
write
asked you
himself
to
up.
meet-
Yeah, hey, write yourself up.
I'll work on it.
Yeah.
All right, back marketing.
Back to where I was going with this. So if you look up the true definition of a marketer, they're supposed to be responsible for new product development, packaging. I can't
Still laughing.
with you. All the way through sales strategies, market implementation, product market fit.
It's a lot of
the
stuff.
fulfillment process, the customer service experience, where now your average marketer isn't responsible for any of that. And they used to be.
Yeah.
They used to develop products, help develop products, figure out ways in which to sell it, where now the modern marketer just works with
He's still laughing.
paid ad agencies.
He's
Yeah.
still laughing. I don't know why.
All I can think in my head is, are you speaking from experience? And that's what's so funny to me.
What do you mean? Yeah, I develop products.
The negative stuff.
The negative stuff.
Never mind.
Okay.
Are you good? Any more?
It's to be honest with you, Leo needs a minute.
Okay. Well, let me let you have a jab at him. Amer ate too
I'm
much
not.
tofu.
No, go to John.
Amer ate too much tofu at lunch and is now high on stuff. Do you see the same copy and paste strategies occurring amongst your agency peers? Because look, you work with a lot of agencies, probably from marketing and messaging and positioning that could occur. So you're working with a lot of marketers. How do you see it?
No, it's the same thing. I think it's a lot of follow the trend of what people are doing. Like pre-COVID, everyone was big on big shows, going to IRC, shop talk afterwards. Now everyone is like moving into these like micro events and trying to hold more personable things. Yeah, it's very much so. And it's usually everyone looks at like what the top 5 agencies are doing, and they think if they replicate the exact same thing, they're going to achieve the same success. which is not the case. You got to kind of pave your own road. But
So how do you keep fresh at your agency?
for us, like, for example, one of the big opportunities that we took that a lot of other agencies didn't take, actually talking about Sub Summit, I feel like we left a big imprint to that community, getting like really, really involved and embracing a larger conference. That was a big differentiator for us in the subscription space. The other things that we like to do is we do more what I would call like personable marketing, where we are working like directly with other SaaS solutions or agencies on one-to-one level and how we can co-sell together. So instead of like trying to convince a brand to work with us, we partner on deals with different agencies. We bring them in or they bring us in. So this way we're just diversifying where our leads come from a marketing standpoint.
Interesting.
Nacelle is here with new AI tech. Read your customers' minds, isn't that the best? Turn browsers into buyers, collect your checks, showcase what they want through the product rec. Not your average, you may also like the full customer journey on your site. From click to checkout, getting it right. From click to checkout, day or night. Nacelle makes your store smarter than ever. They personalize lives, isn't that clever? Providing smart segmentation that sells better. Deliver perfect picks to shoppers forever. Yeah. Visit nacelle.com now.
Brian, any response to that?
No, no responce to that.
Okay, just making sure. John?
Yeah, so I see this slightly different. I think overall, and this isn't just operators or marketers or our industry specifically, but we're quick to forget history, and we only look at the last couple of years. And I don't know if it's necessarily that all marketers suck. I think the reality is the last couple years were really easy for marketers, and you didn't have to get tactical and come up with new creative approaches and campaigns because everything just worked. And it created this false sense of belief that A, marketing was easy, but B, they were good at marketing.
Yeah.
And the reality is it became difficult. And all of a sudden, you have these people that for a couple years, they're putting up good numbers. They're doing their case studies showing how they grew, X's revenue by 300%. And it was just a different time. So I think I think there's good marketers. There's great marketers still out there. And yes, it's challenging times, but they're still getting wins. It's just so many clowns that are out there as well.
You love that word, clowns.
Yeah. I love it.
I think it's interesting because as you guys share this, right? I do agree with you guys a lot. Like at the core of myself, I look at myself as a marketer as well. And when I look at a lot of people, I think there's a lot of different versions of marketing. And I think some of the operational tasks of marketing also have fallen into the umbrella of calling yourself a marketer. That really isn't marketing. It's more marketing operations. You're supporting the marketing team. You're not an actual marketer. A marketer is taking an idea, a concept, developing hooks, being able to position that product and being able to go to sell it and create sales or leads or whatever your objective is, right? And we've all understood this, but as John says, over the last couple of years especially, people aren't coming up with new creative ideas or hooks or angles. Like if I've seen one ad, I've seen every ad ultimately. And once in a blue moon, you'll see an ad and be like, that was it, right? But a lot of times these ads are missing the mark, or it's a very clear duplication of the things that are happened in the past. In fact, I would say that the creativity is probably a little bit gone at this point, right?
For sure.
I keep we saw it last night, the Super Bowl ad with Seal and Mountain Dew.
That's a good ad.
That's a good ad.
That's a good ad because that's taking something.
But it's not anything crazy.
No, it wasn't crazy. They just took something that we would have never expected to occur, and that was a shock element, and that's what we're talking about it right now, right? So, look, I put together a little list of different things that I want to kind of discuss, all right? And I want to kind of go through them, and I think we had a good time going through it last time. My first question that I have for everybody is it laziness, or do we blame short-term KPIs that punish experimentation? What is it that makes marketing lazy? And that's what the premises of this is.
I don't think I think it became laziness, but I don't think that was the intention of it. Looking from outside in to some of these like paid media agencies that we cross over with, some really get down and dirty and try to get a creative strategy in place to make it work. But then on the other hand, I see people just spitting out 40, 50 variations of an ad. They want to upload it to Meta and see what happens. Like that to me is laziness. Is now we made them more efficient because they can create more, but there's no like creative strategic thinking behind what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, the current landscape with software, especially in tech, is it gives people the ability to be really good in marketing, but not as a marketer. And I think there's a big difference on being very good while working in marketing. We're talking about retention marketing specialists. We're talking about, paid ad marketing specialists, right? They're very good at what they do inside of working within marketing. But in terms of being a marketer, they're two different people. And I think right now we're seeing more people that work in marketing versus marketers themselves. And I think there's a huge disconnect between the two of them.
Do you think people operate in marketing too much in silos where they're like, oh, I'm just looking at meta ads or I'm just looking at social and they're not looking at the full pictures, how everything interacts? Like, because like a lot of times I have conversation with agencies and they'll make a decision on meta without talking to us about the website, and I'll never make a decision without an agency's approval on the website, because there needs to be like a full funnel approach to everything.
I think it's just human nature that when you're in the zone, when you're in your craft, you're gonna have blinders on and you're kind of going through the stuff. So I don't think it's necessarily malicious. Right?
No, I don't think it's malicious.
I think they're not even thinking, should I run this by dev? We were looking at some data last week where we were just taking journey from hitting our site, adding a cart, making it to checkout, fail, and we're looking at the metrics and talking about ways to possibly hack it and can we bump this number by 10%, and it's a big number if we can, and we're talking through it. My next steps where we took our theory, our hypothesis on ways to do it, we didn't share those. I shared the problem with my two partners, right? So we're talking finance guy and market and operations guy, not marketers. And the reason I did that is I wanted kind of they don't understand the full picture. It's going to be fresh. It might be a horrible idea, right? But it might be a great idea because they're not stuck in the mundane wheel that we're in sometimes as we're trying to market.
You guys think part of this marketing stuff could be because everyone's making copies or being told by like an online like personality, right? Someone telling him what's working right now, and then instead of going out to try to be creative and challenge it, they just accept that's the truth and then going to chase it?
Yeah, I think that's a big problem, right? Yeah. So I think it's two-part, right? So you have a bunch of people that are X or LinkedIn experts that are going through these playbooks, and I'm sorry, but you can't self-anoint you an expert, like especially when you have no pedigree to justify that. But they position and act like they're experts, and people are naive and they see that, and they have 80 comments and 400 likes, and they're like, oh, this must be it. And I think the other thing is a lot of times experts share stuff that might work for one brand that doesn't work for another brand. Not hating on it, it worked for them and good for them. Avi, right? So a couple years ago, Ron went on this stint where he was talking about on every social post, it seemed, he was talking about how they changed subscribe and shave to auto ship and how it completely changed their numbers, right? Which is great. It did, right? That's awesome. But then everybody started talking about it as if that was the truth. And people like that I respect as well, but they decided that's the truth. Everybody changed auto ship. And I was like, I'm going to test it. I changed it. I ran an A/B test, and it performed significantly worse for us. But it worked for Ron. But people oftentimes, and not maliciously, they're talking about something that works for them, and everybody just assumes that they're not going to have to use critical thinking and they can just copy it.
I got to piggyback off that because it drives me absolutely crazy in the seat that I'm in. It's not just them listening to people, but brands copying brands. And it's like, well, so-and-so competitors doing it, they're much larger than us. It must work. And I'll usually ask, why do you want to change it? And they'll reference the brand and why they're doing it. Now, I'm never opposed to us putting it and testing it, but they're not A/B testing it. They just want to put it and change it because some other bigger competitor is doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's not just marketers. It's also brand operators. I have these constructive arguments with brand operators all the time, or my team will pull me in and it's like, hey, Amir, we don't agree with this. They just want to do this because of X, Y, and Z. And we'll test it. Their conversion rates drop. And they're like, well, what happened? Well, what happened is you made a decision based on somebody else, not knowing it actually works for them, or if it maybe just works for them, like in Avi's case, it was great for them, but for the majority of brands, it might not be.
Workspace 6, why struggle alone? Talk to other founders outside of your home. Communities thrive, so slide open your phone. Help you make strides, sit on top of the throne. Oh, whoa, solve your biggest challenges. Oh, whoa, help your checks and balances. Oh, whoa, this is how I salvage it. This a major key alert, just like DJ Khaled is. Apply for a buck, be a part of the workspace. 6:30, helping on your worst days. Surrounded by 9 figures, not in third place. Take a new direction like my home's on reverse plays. Yeah, join today, workspace6.io. Tell them Awesome sent you.
Brian, what do you say about this? Because you're Mr. Skeptical when it comes to this stuff. Like every time he sees someone post something that he doesn't agree with, he runs to our chat and he just slams it pretty hard.
Yeah.
We won't post any of that, but he'll probably want to share it anyway. So tell us about it, Mr. Lead Actor.
Thank you for giving me the respect I deserve. Yeah, I think it's a copy and paste era in regards to we're given so many tools to not think anymore. And I think that is a huge crucial part that didn't exist not even 10 years ago, especially with the growth of all these social platforms that people are actually utilizing and following, right? LinkedIn used to be the headshot. My dad was up there in his insurance thing, 5 years at this company, and everyone would congratulations, William, right? That's what it was. And obviously X has evolved now. But that wasn't around. People actually had to use their own critical thinking skills before. And today they don't and can still be successful. And when they are successful by doing it, so to go against John's point, the people that did see that and take that and it worked for them, they were like, wow, this is great. I'm going to start everything that so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so says. I'm just going to copy and paste and do because it's worked so many times in the past. And now you have all these other tools and you have agencies now that brands lean on, where you have to run your own paid ads or even create your own paid ads anymore, or even come up with paid ad strategy anymore, because someone else is going to do it for you. And as long as you hit your ROAS number, I'm a great marketer. No, you're not. Jerry did it. Tony did it. You didn't do it. Very few people actually have to have critical thinking skills today. And I think that is what's destroyed the marketing landscape in general, is the copy and paste era, but also the reliance upon agencies and other people outside of your brand that can still make you successful. And when you don't have to use critical thinking skills on a daily basis, you lose it. If you don't lose it,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
If you don't use it, you always lose it.
Or you never gain it, or you never create it, right? So I do agree, the tools, AI, automations, there's all these new things that are out there that could make a marketer look smarter than they actually are.
For sure.
But there is not the critical thinking that is not occurring often, and they're not trying out a lot of new things. In fact, when I think about creativity disappearing, one of the things I think about a lot is again, it's just like sales, guys. There's a lack of proper education and training that's occurring. People are taking micro snippets of education and learning from social media, from their friends in different places, where the fundamentals are often learned in a larger training and course, right? Like the 3 Ps in marketing, right? Pricing, position, and pricing, product, and positioning, right? The 3 Ps. Many of them. Wait, isn't it pricing? Wait.
No, he said he was way off.
No, I said I was way
Oh,
off.
I was like, I don't know where you're going with this. But pricing, product, and positioning, right, are the 3 Ps of marketing. That's the foundation of marketing. And when you think about that, that's not learned from a snippet. Oh, these guys going off here. This isn't learned from a snippet of conversation you pick up on social media. It's learned from an education level of doing it. I'm not talking about college here. I'm talking about real life examples, being able to go in there, even if it's going on Udemy or buying a course or whatever it might be.
Or just sitting down with your manager and talking.
But I feel like this isn't happening anymore, right?
We know it's not.
What about you, John? Are you taking, your guy, right? Walter's your guy, your VP
Yeah.
of marketing. Is he going out and how is he educating? Do you know?
That's a fair question. So he is a self learner. He's
Yep.
also a really good sponge. So I would say, he's been with us. He's technically been an employee longer than I have been, but in the marketing role, he's been there now for several years, and he does a really good job. I'd say he's at this point sponged everything from me that I possess, and then he's on his own taken this principle that I have, and he's built on it through self-exploration online and YouTube videos and ChatGPT and reading blogs. Like, he's a self-learner, right? But that's unusual.
Yeah, that's not
Most people
usual.
don't do that.
No. Nope.
How about you, Brian? Like, how do you learn? Are you learning because you just take creative ideas and you go test them and go experiment with things, or are you going out to learn from other people?
Yeah, learning from other people and then throwing paint at the wall. Those are my two big things. I just try a bunch of stuff. I'm a big guy, and like let's bring a dunk tank in and start dunking employees in the warehouse.
See what happens.
And everyone see what happens.
He did that. And
right? And that's actually.
I'm a big believer in that too. Let's just try it.
Yeah, let's just try
If
it.
it's low barrier to entry, let's
Yes.
just try
let's
it.
just try it. So I like trying a bunch of stuff. I do, and I like, obviously, I like, Jimmy and John, learning from both of you, right? And really growing and taking the knowledge base, and other folks in the e-com space that I've become friends with, but Jimmy and John especially, for sure.
Once you graduate to the doctorate level with me, I'll let you in.
Oh, jeez. All right. I've got another interesting take for you guys to talk about. The statement, the smartest marketers go solo, right? You think that the top marketing talent leaves, they bail, and they start their own businesses often? Like, they're leaving the field to the B players ultimately. Is that something you guys would fairly say in this market? Because I personally see it often and often. The best people in the market, they're either going to go co-found a company, they're going to start an agency, or they're a very top-level executive in often places. And they're not working on the ground floor anymore. And it becomes like a cycle almost, right? They're supposed to train and teach, and some of them do. Like, we mentioned Taylor Holiday, right? One of the cool things about Taylor Holiday is all these people who come to his agency, they don't stay very long, 2-3 years, but then they leave on and do something magical in the market because they're taught really well through the agency, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you guys think about that? The statement I'm asking is, do the smartest marketers go solo? Do they go off and do their own thing?
I would say they're at the highest risk too, but I think good leadership can retain them. And if you take care of them and treat them with the respect they deserve, then they don't leave.
I would rephrase that. I would say that the best and smartest marketers chase the biggest challenge because that's what
a
they
good one.
want.
That is good.
Do you have a marketer at your place?
Do I have what?
Do you have a marketer at Perella?
You have Shruti.
Yeah.
What do they do?
They do a lot of stuff for social.
For
us.
marketing Perella?
Yeah.
Okay,
A
that's
little
what
bit
I
of
mean.
social. We do a lot of outreach campaigns and things like that, setting up small events and things like that. So more like personable stuff rather than like mass media stuff.
Gotcha.
What about content, right? With the rise of AI happening right now and content farms, I feel
What's
like
a
there's a lot
content
more
farm?
mediocre content in
You never
this
been to a
world.
content farm?
Wait, what? What's a content farm?
You've never been to a
Oh,
content
yeah,
farm?
we've never been to a content farm before. There's one down the street in Georgia.
No joke.
Look at him looking at us.
Wait,
You've never been to a content farm.
stop.
He's messing with
Stop. What is a content farm?
you. It means like
Making
you,
a lot of content.
yeah, you're building a ton of content. Building your I'm scheduling all this out for the next 6 months. I'm gonna go build
like internally.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
you're
I'm gonna
just
build it
going,
all
yeah.
out
It's
and
not
I'm
a
gonna
real
go
place.
schedule
Yeah,
it.
pay-
Yeah, I like how
knew
he
it
was
wasn't a
like,
real
wait,
place.
where's this place? He's like, I want to go.
Yeah,
But
sounds
anyways, what I'm
fun.
trying to say is content's easier than ever to make today.
Yeah.
It really is.
We were
And
chatting
not
about that
saying
earlier.
that content is bad or good, but yeah, before this pod, we started shooting it, we were talking about the availability of content farms. But let's talk about it. Like, are we killing ourselves with a lot of mediocre noise ultimately in this market? I personally think that there's more noise in this market than ever.
Yep.
Especially as someone who participates heavily in social media myself. I see it, and there's so much bad information or mediocre information or boring ass information. There's only so many things that are going to attract a person to want to read and learn more about it. And they've got to be a little bit more edgy. They've got to be creative. They've got to create some kind of oomph, right? A lot of the content that's out in the market is kind of regurgitated, or it's very basic ultimately, right? And
Yeah.
there's a difference between being basic and simple, in my opinion. You can be simple that relates and that's easy to connect with, but there's basic in that it's not really building any kind of critical thinking behind people, right? What do you guys see in the market?
I mean, I 100% agree. There's so much that is in my opinion, like sometimes when I look at this content, and Jimmy,
What type of content are we talking about? Like B2B content, like
It
LinkedIn?
doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Any content that people post and talk about, like,
Okay.
I mean, Jimmy, you're a lot critical of me, and it's like you're just post. One of the things, it's not a fear, it's a discomfort. I see so much bad content out there. When I read it, I was like, that's completely wrong, inaccurate. Like, why would you even post this? That's the type of reactions I have. And when I think about my content, I've been trying to really, really challenge myself. It's like, how can I provide with every single post a takeaway for somebody? But it has to be, for me, a takeaway for my ICP, for people that we work with, that we can bring value in. My LinkedIn feed is 90% garbage. And to give credit to you, Jimmy, like usually when I read your posts, like they at least like, they make me think, like, oh, that's smart. It's a good positioning. And sometimes it's like stuff I even take to my merchants and I say, hey, why don't we do wording this way? 90% of people on any platform, it's just garbage, and it's meant to lure people in that I hate to say are vulnerable and gullible, that those dated strategies or thinking could actually work today.
Go. Yo, listen up, let me put you on game. OmniSend's got the tools and everything that they claim. Email, SMS, yes, all in one. E-com brands love it cause it gets work done. Yeah, 125K worldwide. Reviews so high, got them beaming with pride. And their stars are 4.8, no joke. Shopify back, so you know it's dope. Automation so slick, like a self-driving whip. Bring them back with a click, never losing the grip. Easy migration, yeah, that's no stress. Support so strong, got me feeling real blessed. No sneaky fees, no surprise in sight. Ain't calling it alignment just to raise the price. So if growth is the goal and sales on your mind, OmniSend's got the tools, now go get what's mine. Hit OmniSend.com today and watch your brand take off, okay? Oh yeah, and tell them Awesome sent you.
So I will say, credit where credit's due. And I've told you this a couple of times. I'd say in the last month, there's been like 3, maybe 4 posts of yours where it got me just thinking in that right lens, where it triggers an idea from it that I can then run and execute.
What I do for you two, when you post, I will usually take and I read something like really good. I'll either forward or do a screenshot and send it to my marketing guys. When you post your sales breakdowns, I forward them to them. I actually told them, follow them too, and see what to do and what not to do, because that's our audience. Yeah. And that to me is helpful.
Did you send him any of my stuff?
Oh, wow. Are you offended yet?
Oh, man.
That's a genuine question. Did you send any of his stuff or not?
I have actually sent the video breakdowns that you used to do and you stopped, unfortunately. Those were very, very valuable to me.
Okay. Whoa,
you should do more of them.
Oh, wow. Hey, only valuable to him.
No, I know.
It was a compliment.
It was a compliment.
You're talking about the site breakdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah, site breakdowns.
Those were really, really good.
Yeah, I should start doing those again.
Yeah.
Those are easy, too.
Yeah.
Well, I just did the White House a couple weeks ago.
You what?
I did the White House website.
Did you?
Yeah, but you were a little, I guess you're a little aggressive.
All right.
I didn't see that one, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
You'll love it.
Jeez. Okay. All right. I have a question here as we talk about this. I've seen e-commerce brands replicate the exact same Facebook ads, the funnels, like 10 other brands, and that leads to zero differentiation, right? That's a recipe for mediocrity, right? We all assume that. If modern marketing lacks creativity, how does it affect D2C, SaaS, and agencies? Like, how do we think about this in a general term of like, how do we see the future being affected because of this?
I'm going to answer that question reverse, and I'm actually going to use you as an example. So we're going through the entire almost Pride redesign process, how we want to position things. There is nothing that came from Oma's. I mean, we looked at competitors, seeing what they do, but there was nothing or at any point that Brian or anyone on the team said, we want to do what this competitor is doing. Hey, here's the website, here's what our competitor, and everything that we brought up, good or bad idea, it was a constructive dialogue in how do we get better positioning for Oma's without focusing on any other brand.
Is that not part of your onboarding docs still? That question where it's like find 5 elements of 5 sites that you like.
Do you know what I still get to this day from 90% of the people? What? We want to look like Apple. That's what people ask for.
People love the Apple websites.
Yeah.
And
but it's imagery. It's all images.
Never been.
Never been.
That's why you're
It's APPL.com.
Check it out later.
It's actually not. It's APPLE.com. but no, I know it's okay. But for people that were following along at home, I think if you get rid of the E, you get some funky. You get some funky website.
There was something there. That was what I was trying to do.
I thought you just misspelled it.
No.
But now we're gonna live on air. We're gonna
What
go.
were you gonna do? Just go through it.
I'm just gonna go to it right now, and you guys can just watch what happens.
All right, let's keep going here. All right, so any more takes on this?
No, not for me.
All right.
God, Androids are slow.
It's
All right. All right. What about the brand messaging? You mentioned it right now, and I think this is interesting, right? One of the things that I always say about websites often, right? People who are in the same market, and you see this, and you break this down. You can go to brand A, brand B, brand C, brand D, and the goddamn same, right? Copywriting. This has been something that I've felt this market has really missed often. And it's really a skill that is trained and honed over time. But there's a big lack of it in many brands, D2C, even agencies. Do you have a copywriter in your house? In-house? No. Do you have a copywriter in-house?
Sure do.
Do you have a copywriter in-house?
full time now.
Yeah. Copywriting is such a core. It is expensive because a good copywriter is expensive, or you go outsource it. But to me, the hardest thing, the most important thing of a good marketer or a good marketing team is having a copywriter. I believe that full-heartedly because they position, they get you right. The words that are going to be put onto the page or in the email or the ad, that's what matters most. Why don't you have a copywriter?
I believe that, and this is actually something we've been discussing a lot lately, any copywriter that you hire needs to understand the segment that you're marketing to. I've seen, let's say a pet copywriter try to do things for health and beauty. It doesn't work. The other thing is that I really believe in order to be a really good copywriter, you need to take time and invest time to really understand the brand and the audience. What happens with us typically when we build a website, everyone wants their website yesterday. Some people will even say, oh, we don't want any strategy. We don't want any analysis of data. We don't want a CRO audit. They shut all that down. They're just like redesigning the website. We don't have time.
So what do they want? You just want it to look pretty?
They want us to implement basically best practices. I mean, we still push to do as good of a job that we can. And on average, we lift conversion rates by 26%. But if we had more time, I think we could do even a more killer job.
That's really interesting. I find that really interesting. All right. That's a good one. All right. So let's talk about AI, right? Let's talk about AI and how people are thinking about AI. Now, me particularly, I think about AI and say, AI gives a modern marketer or a person 10x ability, capability, expands their availability of time, output, things that they can do, and it pushes them to go beyond the things, and it can create great baselines for people. But how do you guys feel about it? Are you guys feeling like it's a creative crunch or crutch?
No. So if you asked him why he doesn't have a full-time copywriter, the reason we don't, Walter's actually really good at copywriting.
Yeah.
We have two others on the team that are very strong at it. We've created a GPT. We've had it ingest a lot of our content. And it does about 80% of our stuff. We sometimes have to tweak it a little bit, but we've built it pretty well. And it does a really good job. Yeah.
On your ads and on your emails and all those different things?
Do you ever try to test different copy that's not within your voice traditionally?
I mean, if we're testing different cohorts and different audiences, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on how we're segmenting.
Okay.
Interesting. I think when you think about AI, how about you? Like when you think about AI and how that's affecting the way your marketing team is moving, is it beyond content? Is it content only? Like how are you thinking about this?
Yeah, it's pretty much content only. And the reason why we have a full-time copywriter, they're actually a former customer, still a customer, but everything we do is our product. So we're not only in retail, but online, and we're, 100 SKU set. So we have our OMA's voice displayed on products we make and places in which we sell. And that doesn't exist a lot, which I think is another reason why people don't have full-time copywriters, is because they're not making their own product. They don't care what's the work is done from them, because when you sell someone else's product, copywriting is 10 times easier.
But you also said something interesting about how a lot of brands are also outputting their work to agencies.
Yes.
So they have no need to think about it that way. They think the agency will take care of it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But would you think that the agency is the best company to do that for you?
No, I don't. I don't think so at all. I think everyone should keep their own brand voice in house. And the issue now is people aren't building brands because other people are building it for them, and their brand is being dictated by either an agency or AI. That's the rough reality of 2025.
It's interesting. All right. I want to go into a little hot take round because I put together some hot takes that I think are really interesting. They're all over the place, but it's really about why modern marketers suck. So I want to do a rapid fire series of statements. And each co-host, I want to give you guys 30 seconds to really respond, roughly give or take. But number one, I'm going to start with TikTok is making everyone a lazy copycat. Thoughts?
TikTok's making everyone a lazy copycat in the sense of product.
Well, as a marketer.
As a marketer, no, I don't think so, because I think there's still so many people that are scared to go on TikTok. Now, I think the people that are on TikTok, yes, but I still think it's a space where a lot of people are scared to go still. Yeah. So I don't think it has a vast scale in regards to it affecting other marketers. It affects other brands that are selling on the platform. But besides that, no, I don't think so.
What about you?
I agree with him. I mean, the reality is, how many people do you know personally that have over 1 million followers on there, right? Not a lot, because it's not easy.
One.
But it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
It's not just consistency; it's quality. It's actually understanding how the algorithm works.
Sure.
I mean, people can try, but I mean, what happens? You try for 20 days and then you just quit?
Yeah. What about you, Amer?
Honestly, I'm not tied into TikTok enough where I can pass judgment on it.
Got it.
Do you have it? Do you use it?
No, not really.
Well, I think it doesn't, because everyone's struggling to try to create creativity. I think that TikTok's actually a great place for marketers, because people who are on TikTok often are trying to find their way to stand out.
True.
Right?
That's a good point.
So that's one way to think about it. Here's another statement. If you can't do real brand strategy, you call yourself a performance marketer. Well, how do you think about that?
That's
spicy
so
take?
aggressive.
Wow.
That is aggressive.
I kind of
right?
like that, though.
If you can't do real brand strategy, you call yourself a performance marketer. Brian.
Yeah, because at that point, all you are is you're like a little mouse, and you're essentially just taking barking orders and hitting your metrics. And as long as you're hitting your metrics, then you can call yourself successful. But at that point, you're a performance marketer, because, hey, yeah, we're growing, 10% quarter over quarter. ROAS is up, 1.5x from last year. And that's what I was called down upon me to do. And as long as you're able to do that, I think that's why they're calling themselves performance marketers, because they're worried about hitting metrics and not building brands.
John.
I don't have any other value to add. I agree.
I mean, to me, it's like, is it also applicable vice versa?
Yeah, you can look at it vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, in defense of performance marketers, for me, I think we entered an age with such competition and saturation that is actually what a lot of brands are looking for to keep their numbers. So
it's short-term wins, right? Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah, like they want short-term results, and that's what performance marketing is, like very short-sighted results.
I think the thing that, and I'll kind of finish off this hot, spicy take a little bit. When I think about performance marketers, they're still more at that individual output level, and they're not at the bigger core critical thinker. A brand strategist has bigger critical thinking. They can do performance, but you can't be, to your question of can you go the other way, you can't be a performance marketer only and then think that you're doing brand strategy,
I disagree with that.
Why?
Because I work with, for example, Sweatpants.
Yeah.
Eric, their agency to a degree is a performance marketing agency.
He's a brand strategist.
Yeah, but he's
the first thing that Jimmy said.
That's what I'm
he's
saying.
a brand strategist that is able to execute.
But you can't go the other way. I'm saying you can go one way, but you can't go the other way.
You can't take a performance marketer and make them a brand strategist.
They need to evolve into becoming a brand strategist.
Okay,
but if
I
you're a
agree
brand
with that.
strategist,
That
you're
makes sense.
absolutely a performance person. Yeah. All right, here's another one. This is an interesting one. I want to start with Amer here. Marketers who can't code or analyze data are doomed in the next 5 years.
No, because AI is going to overcome that for them.
What do you think?
Yeah, and not even that. Like, I just don't understand why a marketer would have to code.
Yeah.
What about analyze data?
Analyze data. I mean, you need to understand data. I think depends on your definition of analyzing. Like,
Yeah.
you look at some metrics to understand it. If it's a crazy CSV file, throw it in AI and ask.
You don't
for
need to be a
summary.
data scientist.
No.
Yeah, a ball
Yeah.
python can analyze data.
All right.
I've seen it.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Last one here. It's not that marketers suck. It's that CEOs force them into short-term wins. John, thoughts?
No, such a cop out.
Is it a cop-out? Are they blaming?
I mean, it's easy. That's the blame game, right? Like, I think if there's a single takeaway from the last 35 minutes, it's that marketers suck.
Yeah.
Most of them, right? There's some great ones out there, but a lot of them suck.
Now, Brian, I'm putting you to the other side because you're on the other side. Is it CEOs forcing them into short-term wins? Is that why marketers are sucking?
No, it's not why they're sucking. Is that a reality, especially with all this PE and VC money in there? For sure. I mean, they have to do things outside of the scope of building brand and creating new products because they're trying to hit numbers for people in suits upstairs. But that's not the sole reason why they suck. I think they were sucky to begin with before they were forced to create these short-term wins.
How about you, Mayor?
I think it's situational. I've been on calls where there's very smart individuals and marketers that want to do well for the company. That is a little bit risky, I agree, but CEOs just want short-term wins because that's what they're judged on.
Yeah.
They're not judged on what's going to happen 18 months from now. They're judged on what's going to happen 3 months from now.
Yeah, we need money now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coll. That was good. I wanted to see, and they were supposed to be controversial on purpose.
Those are
To kind of
Yeah.
give you guys a little
Those are
twist.
good. Almost.
All right, so we've thrown a lot of shade. Let's pivot to solutions, guys. Final part of this pod before we jump into Brian's game. How can modern marketers break out of a rut? Let's give them some advice that we can help people think about it, right? And I'll start as someone I think about. Sometimes you should ignore the best practices. That's my first piece of advice. I think too many people follow best practices and not enough people try new creative ideas, right? That means curiosity, creativity, continuous learning, deeper brand storytelling, right? I talk about storytelling a lot on social media because I believe that's the core of a good marketer is just tell a good story. That's all good marketing is, in my opinion, right? So what kind of thoughts do you guys have around that?
Yeah. Yeah. In regards to creating fresh new ideas.
Yeah.
Like the term, how they say curiosity killed the cat? Well, curiosity feeds cats at Oma's. Stupid. I got to rework that.
That wasn't a good
Write that
slogan.
down.
Yeah.
Write that down. What I mean by that is the more curious that I am and my team is in regards to trying new things, but trying new things based off of the brand in which we know that is current in place and that we're building, but also the customers that we currently have, and taking everything and then taking ideas based off of that and being curious enough to try it. Not just trying randomness that you can come up with. It's how do I take everything that I currently have and listen to my customer base and then go and attack, different things and throwing paint against the wall.
I like that. John, what's the best piece of advice you've given Walter, your marketer? What do you think he would say your best piece of advice you gave him?
a lot of advice.
Yeah, but what do you think was good and hard-hitting? Like, what made him think a lot?
Um,
And it's sometimes just something simple. We'll go to Amir for a second.
Yeah.
Amir, advice.
I'll give them 3 T's. Talk, test, throw. Talk to your customers. Test against what your customers tell you. Throw away what's not working.
That's pretty good.
So I'm just going to ignore the Walter question and just give advice to marketers
Yeah.
in general. So I have 2 answers, right? So I'm going to take the first answer. That's for the 80% of the people, that weren't really good. And just, go to your phone, go back to like 2019, see like what you were doing professionally then, and then go do that. Because you're not good. You're not a marketer.
Okay, so you should quit.
Right, and that's okay. But that's okay. Like, but understand.
You're fired.
Right? Now, the 20% that are good,
Yeah.
I think Brian nailed it. Right, like you have to look at the whole holistic picture. You have to look at getting customer feedback. You have to look at all of it and truly come up with ways to skin the cat. The curious cat got skinned.
No.
No,
You can't skin the cat at Oma's.
but you can skin a cat.
Not at
No,
Oma's.
you don't.
Not at all.
No.
You can
Animals.
only feed the
We
cat.
feed the cats.
You feed the cat.
Oh,
So, all right.
Even if it's curious?
Final thing before we jump into the game. Do modern marketers suck? Yes or no? What do you think, Amer?
No.
No.
I think they have the biggest challenge of any marketer before us.
Oh, you all right?
That was hilarious. Oh, God.
You okay?
Yeah, no,
You want some? What is that?
Sparkling water?
That's sparkling water.
Sprite.
How about
Sprite, it's
before
Sprite.
while
You
he
don't-
catches
you don't
himself, John?
No.
Thoughts?
You don't
Okay,
think,
hold on. Hold your thoughts.
What's the question?
You forgot. Do modern marketers suck?
I think the reality is because of the challenging, last 18 months, it's the same 80-20-20-80 rule that
They
exists
just
everywhere
talked
else.
about it a second
Yeah.
ago. 80% suck, 20% are great.
Yeah.
Brian, your
Yes,
feedback.
everyone. Not everyone. A lot. Yes, most do.
Most
why
do
is
what?
it? Why is it the hardest to be a marketer?
because I think
I'm just curious.
the space is so saturated, and I think with investments and everything that's been happening, there's a lot of short-term plays happening, and there's a lot of pressures from them from all sides. And if ROAS is down and it's not hitting that whatever to 1.75, 2x, whatever your goal is, right away you're a bad marketer. Well, it could be the product, it could be the fact that they don't believe in organic in the company.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I shouldn't have laughed that hard. Now that is, I feel like that is, call me crazy, but the VCPE money doesn't affect a majority of the market that will be listening to this. I feel like a lot of especially a lot of brands aren't PE backed.
Here's the way I would put it. The brands that I work with, let's say BattleBox, Play Crate, Almost Pride, what you guys do organically, majority of the companies don't want to do, and it's not because the marketer doesn't want to do. I have conversations with them. It's the CEO being the top paid person, and they have this syndrome in the company that, well, they're the top paid, they're the smartest. Quite frankly, most of the time it's not the case. But the marketer, to keep their job, they got to do what they got to do, and it's not fair to them all the time.
Yeah,
And that's,
no, it's a fair call out. It's a fair call out. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I think when I think about the modern marketer, I think that you guys are all kind of hitting all the right things, but the real answer to all of this, in my opinion, my humble opinion about marketers, is they don't suck. I think too many want to run before they've walked, and too many want to be the best at everything before they've learned their specialty. You guys ever heard of the thing called a T-shaped marketer? Anyone heard that?
I haven't.
You guys haven't? See, this is an old adage, right? All marketers only have specialization in one very unique point, right? Every other place, the further away they get from the T, the center, the worse they are at those things. But a lot of marketers these days want to be everything that they can be and not just the one really smart thing that they are great at. And they start to realize that when you start maturing and you've done marketing for a long time, you realize these are where I'm really good and this is where I need support, right? I know, for example, myself, I'm really good at obviously email marketing and copywriting, but the further I get away from there, paid stuff, I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
Design, I'm sucky at it. I actually get organic growth a lot more than I get the paid growth, right? Like, these are things that I started to understand about myself, right? I'm not operational. I'm great at analyzing data, but I'm not operational at being able to collect the right data. But if you give me the right data, I can come up with a high-level insight behind it, right? So I think the biggest problem with modern marketers, it's no different than the sales thing that we talked about before. And what my end thing is, modern marketers struggle because they're trying to do everything and be the best at everything and think they're the best at everything without realizing they haven't educated themselves further
It's
enough
not
to get
possible
there.
to be.
And it's not possible. I know myself well enough, and I can't. You throw me design, bro, I'm the worst at design. You guys have seen my design. What was the first ASOM Pod design I made?
We almost went with it, though.
We almost went with it because it was so funny.
It was so bad.
Because it looked like a 5-year-old drew it, but that's just my style because that's all I got, right? But the reality is that most people aren't that great at all things, and you should leave the things that are great to the right people, and you should partner with the right people. And sometimes if you can get hyper specialized, a great marketer, in my opinion, is hyper specialized. They're not generic. Mm-hmm. And that hyper specialization is something that they understand is their superpower. And to John's point, if you can't figure out what you're hyper specialized on, you're not good at it, then marketing might not be the right profession and you might have fallen into it. Or sometimes marketers are actually great salespeople and not great marketers. That is also something I've seen is they don't know the intersection behind it.
Yeah.
So that's my pure opinion around it. With that, we are now going back to buy or sell here today. So we've got
sell.
Brian, the meat guy. Buy or sell.
All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Buy or Sell. I'm your host, Brian.
The meat guy.
The meat guy. All right, let's get into this here. Okay, we have 5 statements. I want to buy or sell, and you can dive into a little bit about it, Amir. Don't go down
Can
this
you
hole.
define a little bit?
Don't go down the rabbit hole.
15 seconds or less.
Yeah, everyone gets 30, you get 20. Number 1, a closed loop channel such as TikTok or Amazon should never be a marketer's top 3 sales channels. Buy or sell.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sell. I think not forever. It can be, but you need to diversify at some point.
Yeah, I could argue both, but I think the correct answer is sell, just because it's closed loop. You're not getting the customer.
Yeah.
It's not
I go
your
with sell
customer.
too. You
It's
can't,
not
you
your
can't, you
customer.
have no idea with just a closed loop system. Yeah.
No, that was a good way to kick it off. 2, the best era of marketers came before the internet. Buy or sell. The best era of marketers came before the internet.
Sell.
I sell that too.
Yeah,
I think
sell.
there was great marketers before the internet, but internet's more challenging than ever these days, and there's more mediums and different ways to diversify. Before, what was it like? Guerrilla paid marketing, spin a sign on the corner, partner with some people. Like there wasn't that much.
Yeah,
to do.
guerrilla marketing.
I would say-
What's the greatest generation though of marketers? I don't know the answer to that.
So-
I don't know the answer to that either.
I think
No.
best generation of marketers is internet. I think best generation of brand is before the internet.
Ooh, okay. I like
Okay.
that. I
Yeah.
like that take.
That's a good statement.
Yeah.
I buy that.
yeah.
Number 3, this is a good one. Politicians are the best marketers. Buy or sell.
No, because they're the best liars.
Oh, jeez. It's a buy or sell. So is it sell?
Yeah,
Sell.
we're not doing we're not doing
buy,
this whole-
sell, or
I just said
liar.
no.
Yeah. Marketers are liars too.
No, I think, well, marketers should be honest positioning individuals, where I don't think politicians are that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay. 4. I think we talked about this episode or last. Organic acquisition, both organic acquisition and revenue, should eventually outweigh paid media. If not, you'll never win long term.
Yeah, I buy that all day.
Buy or sell.
Buy.
Agreed.
And it was a great convo that we
Yep.
had about it. Eventually, it should.
Yeah, eventually
Yep.
should catch up.
Last but not least, true marketers are responsible for designing and building a product or service. If you are not designing or part of designing or building a product or service, you cannot call yourself a true marketer.
I mean, I think true marketer. I think the definition has changed in recent time. I would think
Designing a product.
if we're calling it true
Being
marketer,
a part of like new product development.
if we're calling true like the original definition of marketer, that's the truth. But I think times have changed.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
I sell that. Yeah, I sell that for a typical marketer these days. I don't need to design your product to go sell it for you. I could come into any of you guys and start selling the shit out of product.
But then are you a marketer or are you just a sales guy?
That's a question. And
That's a
I think
good
that there's a
question.
blurry line there.
It's a very blurry line.
Yeah. But it depends on the medium and how I'm selling that could make me a marketer or a seller.
So your sales channel affects what you call yourself from selling the same thing on a different channel?
Yes.
So I would say that you're not a marketer unless you look at a product and say, we need to fix this with a product in order to be able to sell it. So I think they need to be part of the cycle. So even if you design a product and you give it to a marketer, if it's a crap,
I must be a sales guy then, because I look at that and say, I'll just sell the product that I have.
yeah, but if the product is not positioned correctly, you're not going to be as good of a sales guy as you can be.
Interesting.
Well,
It's a good one.
those are good things to think about.
All right. Great one. Good
Good job,
conundrum.
Brian. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Good,
Thanks,
good
guys.
buy.
Amir
sell.
said good job to you.
Wow, thanks, Amir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Incredible. I really enjoyed this segment.
All right. With that, we are wrapping this episode up. Episode 40. Why do modern marketers suck?
We did it.
I know we did it. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. Let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this episode, you can follow us on social media, TikTok, XIG, LinkedIn, YouTube. Just type in ASOM Pod and find us there. And don't forget to leave us a review or rating from your favorite podcast streaming platform. Remember, we're a video-first podcast. We fly location to location. We're currently in Hotlanta, Georgia right now. And we do this for the dynamics of the pod because we can talk, enjoy. We're not on screen. And we've done the Zoom thing before, and it's really not the same. We really do feel a difference with this stuff. So we really want you to come listen to us on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe on awesompod.com to be alerted and join our newsletter. Next week, we'll be back with episode 41. Episode 41 is about e-commerce founders. Are they visionaries or operators? Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to the Awesome Pod, where we talked a lot. E-com was the path that we walked a lot. But now the question is, will you subscribe or not?